Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the MI podcast. In the MI podcast, I've covered various topics, in digital marketing. I even did a recent episode on offline marketing.
Hmm.
Um, the thing in all these is that how the industry is kind of adapted. Like when you look at digital marketing, also it is relevant because of the digitalization, the use of internet. In a country like India now, there's so much potential. Like we have internet in terms of reach and consumption, the highest, one of the highest in the whole world. In the
Hmm.
top 10 cities, how much of the internet is consumed is kind of the highest, I would say, in anywhere in the world. And now we are going to tap a lot of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities, villages and all that. So they
Hmm.
are also going to come in terms of the usage of the internet and the products and services that you sell via the internet. Digital
Hmm.
first brands have kind of come up a lot over the last 10 years. The push of entrepreneurship, the ease of doing business has kind of facilitated that payments that you make online is kind of easy, the digital banking, and also
Hmm.
it's a kind of a great environment as of now, like to come and become an entrepreneur, set up your business. And that is the reason why a lot of D2C brands have done quite well over
Hmm.
the last few years. And we see those in front of us, and for the youngsters, the founders of these companies are like role models, like how you can like start a business and a unique idea. It could be a product or a service, and then how you scale it up with the internet, you knowing all
Hmm.
the operations of it, your marketing, your finance, HR, and you set up these businesses and how you can kind of upscale them. Our episode today is specifically about e-commerce companies. How you kind of can, in terms of the operations and the marketing, how you can optimize for them. Because, as a youngster today, like when even out of college, have talked to so many of them, they have some unique product idea, or they start something, and they would like to like sell it off the internet. Like today you can just start a unique, like a mobile case brand, something different that you
Hmm.
create, and then you have set up like your Instagram, your store on that. YouTube have also started, you can sell directly off those platforms, and just directly reach out to your target audience, create content accordingly, and you can sell directly. So it's kind of become like that. Also, for FMCG goods, like over the last 2 3 years, quick commerce sites like Zepto, and then all the major players like Zomato, Swiggy have started their own quick commerce, where you can get
Correct.
delivery of grocery items in like say 15 to 20 minutes from at least like in the major cities. So it's a
Hmm.
great industry. It has grown. The opportunities for your own business, or kind of to work in it also as a working professional, to work for the bigger e-commerce brands, is enormous. So, to discuss about e-commerce with me in detail, I have with me Saniya Jain. Hi, Saniya. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm also doing good. So, Saniya, where are you joining us from?
I'm from Mumbai and I'm currently working as an e-commerce manager.
That's
I've
it.
completed my studies from HR college. I've finished my bachelor's in management studies and I took my elective as marketing. So I've always been an enthusiastic marketeer. Since my college time, I've always known that this is a field I want to get into. So I think my initial interest sparked when I completed this course from Northwestern University. It was an online course called What is Social. So it mainly covered all aspects of digital marketing and just selling on the internet. So that's where I first got this spark and this interest in this field. And then I did a couple of internships. After that, I just knew that, this is something I'm good at and this is also something I'm passionate about. So yeah, that's been my
That's
journey
right.
in this.
So, Sanya, like getting into marketing is kind of becoming almost like a no-brainer kind of thing for many youngsters now.
Correct.
Like when you see
Hmm.
around yourself the media and your internet, and how you can use content to reach your consumer, and it's also obviously creative kind of a profession. So, but what do you feel like when you're choosing to get into marketing as a young profession? Like obviously it's all around you,
Hmm.
but you might not be suited for it, right? So
Correct.
what do you feel you should have within you where you judge, okay, I can be suitable in marketing?
I think it depends on which field you want to get into. Obviously, if you're looking at something related to content marketing, you need to have a very strong hold on the language. You need to be a little more creative. When you get into performance marketing, you need to be good with numbers, and you need a analytical side which allows you to deep dive into each and every intricate details. So but in general, I think a good place to start with to understand what your interest holds is maybe reading a couple of books or just doing a course online to see if it interests you. That's obviously theory, and your practical is going to be different, but I think it
Hmm.
gives you a fair idea of what you're going to be up to. And for anyone
That's it.
who's just starting out, I would obviously recommend doing internships because it's the best way to understand and get the practical as well as the theoretical knowledge that you need.
That's right. So, like, if you are in college, you feel okay, I might have an interest in marketing. Look at
Hmm.
marketing related internships. Like, I mean, getting,
Correct.
say, a social media related is quite a kind of easier because companies also,
Correct.
a
Yes.
lot of the TGs is the Gen Z. So, you are already in that bracket. So, when they might,
Yeah.
tell you to assist them in the social media operations. So, kind of
Yes.
maybe try out that and see, what whether it's
Yes.
working for you in that sense.
Yeah.
So Sania, your e-commerce journey, you can just kind of share that, like what attracted you towards the e-commerce industry, and maybe any courses you did then to increase your
Hmm.
skills, and then your process of joining your current company.
Sure. So I think it started with my last internship that I did before getting a full-time job. I was working as a digital marketing intern at Anvisint. It's a data analytics company, and I was managing a lot of their data, which was derived from Amazon. They had two clients, okay, which needed a few audits of their Amazon marketplaces. So that's where I got an idea about what it's like to be selling on Amazon, because I was handling a lot of large data sets, and I was understanding their marketing metrics. So that's where my journey with e-commerce specifically started. After which, so I left this internship and I had my final exams. After that, there's this company called Demand Helm. It's a US based advertising agency. So for placements, they came to my college, and I was one of the five people who got shortlisted for a final round of interview. So
Hmm.
to give myself an upper edge, and to make sure that I get a job, I did this course from Amazon University. It's called Amazon Sponsored Ads. So
Hmm.
I took around 6 to 7 days to finish that course, and it was a very easy to understand, easy to grab course. There was nothing
Hmm.
complex about it. Everything was explained
Hmm.
in a very
So in that course, like
simple way for a
generally, what
fresher.
was kind of covered in that?
So this was specifically just about sponsored ads. So there are
Hmm.
around 15 to 20 types of ads that you can launch on Amazon on the
Hmm.
website. So it just gave a fair idea of what those kinds of ads are, what exactly are you bidding on, and how how you're paying for these ads. So Amazon has a CPC and as well as a CPM model. So it just got into the first basic details of how what it's like to be advertising on Amazon. The reason why I chose this course was because after reading my job description and after going through the first two rounds of interviews, I understood that my role is going to be completely in performance marketing and managing ad accounts. So
Hmm.
after finishing this course, there was a good gap of 2 weeks between my second and my last interview. So after finishing this course, I had a much clearer idea of what I was going to get into, and it also gave me an edge in my last round of interview because I had a basic idea of the metrics. I had a basic idea of the different types of ads that there are.
That's right. Sania, what would your advice be for youngsters who want to get into career like e-commerce? Like, what should they kind of study, or what sites they should look up
Hmm.
information, and like how should they go about it?
Sure. So I think when it comes to studies, any business related fields are relevant to this course. Uh, I did management studies and I learned a lot about marketing. There's nothing specific to e-commerce in my course. I think in India we still don't have those specialized electives that you're allowed to take as compared to outside. Obviously, when you do a
Hmm.
master's, that's when you get into a specialized field. But anything, any courses like BMS or BCom or any data related subjects will also really help you because a lot of marketing is is dealing with numbers. Even though people think there's only a creative side to it, there's a lot of data, there's a lot of analytics also that you have to deal with.
Hmm.
So, and apart from that, I think, colleges today give you the liberty to pursue your passion side by side, apart from studying also. So you can, immerse yourself into internships, courses, or speak to industry professionals. With LinkedIn, it's just so easy to connect with someone from a similar background and get to know, how you can upskill yourself to reach the level that they have. So I think, yes, that's
That's
how
right.
people should get started in this industry.
That's right. And in the interview process, like what you feel the keys they are looking at, like when they are hiring at a level like marketing
Fresher level.
executive, yeah, marketing
Hmm.
say executive
Okay.
in a e-commerce brand basically.
Correct. So obviously, no one expects you to have 100% knowledge of the whole business. I think what is really important is that curiosity, and how you can justify that is by doing intensive research of the company you're interviewing with. You can look at opportunities, or you can look at ideas that you will bring in. For example, you just have a quick look at their website and you say that, this is a suggestion I have. Maybe you can add a chat. If they don't have an AI chatbot, you give a suggestion that you can add an AI chatbot to ease out your customers journey.
Hmm.
Or you can categorize your products not just by their categories, but also by, say, seasonality or by ticket size. You just
Hmm.
So I think when you give recommendations, when you have that proactive nature in an
Hmm.
interview, it really looks good. And
Hmm.
apart from that, yes, basically, my first job was very like, it was very intense, because my first entire month went into training. So as a fresher, they didn't expect me to know every single detail. But obviously, because I was a little proactive, I finished my course, I had basic understanding. They hired me the very next day.
Hmm.
So, although it can look a little intimidating, because there are a lot of aspects in this industry, but I think if you're curious enough, if you're someone who's willing to do it, it's easy to crack an interview in e-commerce.
That's right. I think an important takeaway is that you do a good preparation on the site, review it. Maybe what it is
Correct. Yes.
lacking, you put in some recommendation. So have some
Hmm.
points which you convey to them.
Correct.
Like
Yeah.
that will show
So,
that
and it's
intent. At least, yeah.
yes, that you're actually interested in it. You can
Hmm.
also follow, a few blogs or podcasts, or you can look at articles to brush up before you're
Hmm.
getting in. You can see what the current trends are. You can see what the forecasted trends are. It's just
Hmm.
important to have basic knowledge before you get in.
That's right. So,
So,
Sanya,
that way you
anything you
have
can
points. Yes.
recommend then anything like in the e-commerce industry online if you have to, see certain sites or podcast or something online content or influencers or anything like where this is a good source of
Sure.
information in e-commerce.
Hmm. Yeah. So, I think one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to currently also. So there's this podcast called as "My Wife Quit Her Job." So this is not just related to e-commerce. It's just, it focuses on how this entrepreneur successfully built her business online, and she
Hmm.
shares her insights of every step of the way, like how she quit her job, how she had nothing, and then she built up her business to the successful business it is today.
Hmm.
Another, so this one is to get like
So
insights
the,
from
the
an
one you
actual
mentioned,
entrepreneur
it's
who.
by like an Indian or an American or
No, no, it's an international podcast.
internet.
It's not based on an Indian market.
Okay,
So
okay.
coming to an Indian market, a very good resource is ET Retail. So
Hmm.
Economic Times has its own newsletter, and they keep giving. This particular newsletter gives you updates about the industry. So, for example, like, it'll give you quarterly updates of how much profits or losses a particular company has made, or which new players are coming into the e-commerce market. So it gives you a fair idea of where the industry is headed,
Hmm.
and you can make your judgments and projections on the basis of these pieces of information that you get from this newsletter. Apart from this, when it comes to courses, Google has a lot of good courses. So there's something called as Google Digital Garage, and you have
Hmm.
fundamentals of digital marketing, you have fundamentals of e-commerce. There are a lot of courses you can explore within, which are free,
Hmm.
by the way. You don't need to pay for them also.
Hmm.
Coming to Amazon, for anyone who starts out on Amazon, you have Amazon Seller University. And again, these courses and short videos take you through each and every step of selling on Amazon. There's a
Hmm.
resource available in every format. There's a resource available for everything you will, engage into while selling on Amazon. So
That's
yeah,
right.
these are a few resources people can refer to.
Awesome. So, Sanya, we'll just dive into our discussion. So, in general, like, what have you feel about the operations of e-commerce? How is it kind of set up, and majorly what challenges you face, and how do you kind of have to strategize?
Hmm. So, like you said, e-commerce is an emerging marketplace and a form of business in India currently. And I recently read that close to 100% pin codes have adopted e-commerce. So
Mm,
that's a very big number. So considering that, our geography is very diverse, we don't have the same type of, geographical landscapes across the country.
mm,
Something that we face on a regular basis is last mile delivery. So
mm,
if you compare the logistic rates for shipping to a tier one metro city like Bangalore, it's going to be much less, and you almost have to pay 2.5 times more if you want to ship to suppose a northeastern state or somewhere in the south. So I think this is a very big disparity that we still have in our country today, where logistic
mm,
costs are differing so much. But I think as and when we tap into, like you said, the tier 2 tier 3 cities, this is going to get optimized. So I think
mm,
a good way to manage this is to partner with big supply chain managers, because
mm,
what it does is that you don't have to take care of the last mile delivery. They have their set warehouses and in each and every state. So it not
mm.
only optimizes the cost for you, but it also ensures a safe delivery of your products and goods.
That's right.
uh,
And now, if you see,
I think
like I've observed where people have their own products set up at very small
hmm,
scale. They are just
correct.
emerging. They might not even have like a proper made website. It'll be like a landing page with a certain or a WhatsApp store that you see now in that WhatsApp business.
Yes,
So
WhatsApp businesses, correct.
that's right. So they would then partner like Dunzo and all these brands. So
Hmm.
you have to maybe pay for the delivery only, right? So it's not an
Yes.
outright cost like he's getting into an agreement and for payment with a
Yeah,
logistics
correct.
company. So when you're really at that small scale, that option is there.
Correct. I think another operational issue that e-commerce businesses face is the mode of payment that is preferred by Indians. So, although in tier one cities, you will notice a lot of transactions are done through UPIs, credit cards, or
Mm,
basically it's paid before the product reaches you. But a lot of people still prefer cash on delivery, because we are so
mm,
used to like paying for what we see, that international concept of like paying before you get the product has not set in
mm.
completely yet, although
That's
it
right.
is increasing.
Also with
But
a, I
also
think a
cash
small
on.
site, so that trust might not be there, right? Like if I
Correct,
pay,
yes.
I might not get the goods only. There's some
Yeah,
could be a scam or something.
yeah. Yeah, and there are so many businesses opening so quickly, even on just Instagram, without
Mm,
registering themselves. These small businesses that you shop from,
yeah.
some people get scammed from them. You don't have a proper platform to put a review, because on
Mm.
Instagram, if you're commenting on their post, they will just delete it. So
That's,
you're right. Like, this trust is
mm,
not completely built yet,
yeah.
and Indians are just very habituated to paying cash, although the
Mm,
UPI transactions have increased. So even cash on delivery does increase your
mm,
logistic costs, and it just elongates your payment process. So I think to
that's right.
counter this also, like you said, we have so many payment aggregators and payment gateways. That's the best option to go for if you have a set website.
That's right. They're operational. I feel. What do you feel, Sania? Like in terms of a small business, you have that social commerce, right? Like you setting up your
Correct,
shop
yes.
on
Yeah.
Instagram and this thing. So, realistically, you feel that setting up there is kind of easy, or you need a bit of technical experience, knowledge. How do you feel that will go
Hmm.
about?
So with social commerce, at least on Instagram, Facebook, you have these shoppable posts. Like, you have
Hmm.
the ad, and you just click on the ad and it redirects you to their website or an
Hmm.
Amazon storefront. So I think it's very easy to get started here. As long as you have a
Hmm.
website, it doesn't take more than 2 to 3 days to set up shop
Hmm.
over here, because you don't have the
But do you need
technicalities
to like
involved.
have a website? So I want to sell on Instagram. Do I have to have
Correct.
a website, or I can just take photos of my products and then write description and have a store on Insta
Hmm.
only?
So you have both the options. If you have a website, it's better because you can opt for shoppable posts. So the post
Hmm.
where you see where you're redirected to a website, you obviously need a website over there. But
That's
if
right.
obviously if you're a small business that's just starting out, you can obviously post pictures and keep a description and with all the details in the captions. Or you can maintain a highlight of what's available and what the categories are. And as in when you grow, you can expand to your own website. But I think it's very easy to create a website also today. You have so many websites like Wix which allow you to do it for free of cost.
Hmm.
So yes, even integration has become very easy. So a lot of small businesses are also opting for such websites.
That's right. Yeah, there'll be a little bit of an operational, cost like you have in the website in terms of the domain and then the hosting charges.
Yes.
But obviously, that can be the next step. So you start off your thing as a social store only on
Hmm.
Instagram or something, or your WhatsApp store also, which is kind of free of cost. And then you can, I think, take the next step into having your site. Obviously, that establish a little bit more credibility, when you have that.
Hmm.
That's right.
So with
Amazon.
Wix,
Yeah.
this platform that I mentioned, Wix, you don't have to pay any charges for hosting a website or for the domain name. You
Hmm.
obviously have your restrictions, like the logo is going to be the
Hmm.
company's logo and not yours. And there are only a certain level of formats that you can put your content in. But I feel
Hmm.
like it's a great way to get started
That's
because
right.
you don't have any costs. Yeah.
That's right. Sania, the in terms of managing inventory, like when you are running at a certain scale,
Hmm.
you'll be selling on various e-commerce platforms. You will have your own site. So
Correct.
there are different kind of channels of how you are selling. So how do you manage all those, inventory? Actually, how does it work out?
So, like you said, there are so many channels today that brands sell on. And because you have so much competition, you have to be present everywhere your customer is present. So, it gets very hectic to manage inventory because at some point you end up losing track. So, I think the best way to go about this is to integrate an order management software. So, the one that we currently use, it's called Order Circle. And every time there is, every time, so you can put projections like, for example, SKU number A sells has a daily run rate of 5. Now, it's going to give you projections in how many SKUs you will need before that, 70% shelf life hits. So it gives you
Hmm.
these regular updates and really data-driven updates, which you can make, actual decisions on. Um, if you're just doing it manually, it becomes very difficult to sell on multiple platforms because, especially when a new seasonality is coming in. Now, if Raksha Bandhan is around, I know a certain type of SKU is going to sell much more than another type of SKU. But I
Hmm.
obviously can't pin it to, okay, I'm going to sell 5,000 units or 10,000 units. So it's very important to have a order management software in in that case because it's going to analyze previous year's trends, previous year's datas, upcoming how you've done in the remaining year, and it's going to make a fair judgment. And it really helps you plan your supply chain accordingly.
That's right. So, but if it's new, like your business is new,
Hmm.
which one did you mention that solution you can use?
It's called Order Circle.
Okay, so
So
this is
I
it
think
an
it might
integrated
not.
with the other, like all these channels? It is integrated. Like once you have this, then
Yes,
it's okay.
you can integrate it with Shopify as well if you have a website there. I'm not sure about other platforms, but I'm sure that it's a paid tool. So
Hmm.
maybe for someone who's just starting out, I'm sure there are a lot of free ones also available
Hmm.
because it does get very difficult to manually track your inventory. So I
Hmm.
think another very important aspect here is if you're anticipating an increase in traffic during a certain season, you should keep products that are flexible. What I mean by that is, for example, if I'm creating a box of 10 snacks for Raksha Bandhan, okay, which are sweet related or, not savory products because it's a sweet occasion. So I
Hmm.
will keep products that I know can be easily sourced with my vendor. I know that the timeline for this particular product is just 2 days. Like in 2 days, it can
Hmm.
reach me, it can get packed, and I can remove it for dispatch. I will only keep such products in my boxes because it's a very sensitive time, right? Like these seasons don't come again and again. So you have to ensure flexibility. In case I see a certain hike in the week following the actual event, I can order and I can coordinate with my vendor accordingly.
That's
And
right.
then obviously you also have the dropship model. So a lot of companies do this. They don't actually manage the inventory. They'll have certain products which are drop shipped. So they'll get it completely packed with their manufacturer or vendor. And then the shipping aspect has to be taken care of. But you don't actually have to sit and analyze it in your warehouse or how many units you have. So this also really eases up and fastens the process of delivery, drop shipping.
That's right. Sanya will come to the content aspect of it. As a e-commerce brand, you have to have active on your social media, your channels, and
Correct.
you should keep your TG engaged. So
Hmm.
firstly, we'll cover the part of your organic content. What do you feel is a general strategy that you have to have? You're managing your e-commerce store. How do you
Hmm.
design, say, your content calendar, and what kind of content types and formats should be there?
Sure. So I think I'll just start with a basic distinction. So organic is everything which you're not paying for and you're
Hmm.
getting, X amount of impressions, X amount of likes
Hmm.
organically without promoting or without paying for it. And then
Hmm.
you have your paid content, which is again like it's a very deep, category, and you have so many different ad formats, so many different ad types that you can go for. So I
Hmm.
think the key to building organic, I think everybody's long-term goal should be to become an organic brand. Even though
Hmm.
ads are helping you get there, the end goal is to become a brand that is on everybody's head, or like everybody is recommending you. So the first thing that has to be there is consistency. I see that even if your posts are not doing well in on certain days, even if you feel lagged behind, or if you see another competitor do well, I think consistency is the key. And organic, to grow organic, you have to be present on multiple channels. Like you can't just rely on Instagram to get you all the organic traction that you are, because the audience you see on Instagram is different, the audience you see on LinkedIn is different, the audience you see on Facebook is different. So
Hmm.
tailoring your organic content on the basis of these platforms is very important. So, for example, I'm sure that all of Gen Zs use Instagram and Snapchat the most.
Hmm.
Millennials tend to use Facebook and LinkedIn more, and LinkedIn again is used by all generations. So it's
Hmm.
important to tap into your target groups, like you said. On Facebook, you're going to post content which is more relatable to that particular generation. On Instagram, you'll post meme marketing or short reels or video formats.
Hmm.
On millennials do like to see longer videos, and they do like to see faces. So your content should be really tailored according to these particular platforms. You're obviously
Hmm.
going to have the standard content which is posted everywhere, but once in a while you need to reach to their target audience. When it comes to paid content again, you have options to advertise on each and every platform. So
Hmm.
when it comes to
So,
Instagram and
Sanya,
LinkedIn.
in terms of like the paid content, we can kind of like divide that. So, firstly, do you
Sure.
think these e-commerce companies they do the boosted posts a lot? Like that's a part of a paid content
Correct.
strategy.
Yes. So I think both organic and paid content are very essential, especially when you're launching a new product.
Hmm.
So, in paid content, it's very important to set a goal. Now, today, if you've just entered the market with a new product, you can't
Hmm.
expect conversions on day one. You can't expect, your sales to go up high in the first week of the launch.
Hmm.
So, what is important is I feel like you have to lay out your goals first. Like, you want to get
Hmm.
visibility for your product. You want to make sure that people at least know about it before buying it. So to ensure visibility, you do more of like sponsored display campaigns. You ensure that you're retargeting your customers. You ensure that you're focusing more on getting impressions. So you choose your keywords accordingly. You choose generic keywords which are seen by a lot of people, which have a high amount of impressions. You'll even in your sponsored display campaigns, in retargeting, you're going to choose a certain. So Meta and Amazon both give you this option of targeting a particular target group. For example, I want to my product is going to be sold to someone who's in the age of 19 to 25, so I can target those very customers of Amazon and Google to display my ad to. So there are a lot of intricate ad types that you can really tailor according to what the product is, in what stage is it. Like if I have a product which is it's my best selling product, it's there since like 2 to 3 years, it gives me at least like 20 to 30% of my top line sales. So here you have
Hmm.
to consistently put in that effort, consistently put in that spend to remain number one, because we all know that you have 100 other competitors who are selling very similar things as you. So
Hmm.
I think your strategy also depends on what type of a product you have and in which stage is that particular product.
That's right. So you're like in paid, when we see advertising, what would
Correct.
be your like recommended? So let's take an example so that we are kind of a specific. So something like a similar where you are working in
Hmm.
snackable, you have a consumable like an FMCG good like a chocolate or a biscuit or something.
Correct. Yes.
In terms of content strategy in on the platform of say Instagram, if we keep, so what kind
Hmm.
of format and how do you target, like how do you maybe filter people within the segment of how you're targeting? So if you could take us through that.
Actually, I will not be able to give much insights here because I don't manage the social media platforms. You can ask me something related to maybe Amazon or like quick commerce. There are
Acha,
a lot
acha.
of content requirements there as well. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Because maybe you've not handled that part of it where
Yes.
the advertising and all that would come into that.
Yes. But I
Okay.
do manage ads on Amazon. So if you have something related to that, you can ask me.
That's right. So that would, I think, come under paid media only. So like
Yes.
paid content where you are advertising on Amazon, Flipkart, and all. So what is then okay
Hmm.
be your strategy on these like aggregators?
Okay. So I think with e-commerce platforms like Amazon and Flipkart, the number one thing you need to figure out is a product market fit. So what I mean by that is that you're selling in a certain category. You have the same product just packaged differently as five other brands who've been selling
Hmm.
since much longer than you. So you know that you don't have to spend a lot of money here, you don't have to put a lot of effort here because there's a cutthroat competition. And with startups and with FMCG brands, time management is very important. Even your budget allocation is very important. So you enter a category where you might be a little unique, where you might be able to provide, better quality products to your customer, and you focus most of your spends there. Although you are looking at spends in other categories as well, you have to focus your spends there. So currently at Snackable, although it's a healthy snacking brand, we are perceived as a gifting brand on Amazon. A lot of people
Hmm.
like to buy different combinations of our products. So we have a vegan box, we have a calorie box, we have a birthday gift box, we have a first time box. So I think people like to see combinations like that. So my current strategy over here is to focus on that particular category because people on this particular platform are perceiving me, like perceiving my brand as a gifting brand. So I'm allocating my budgets, my spends, all my efforts here. Even in terms of content, we regularly get new videos shot just for this particular category. So I think it's very important to do that because on Amazon, it's very easy to lose track of how much spends are getting allotted to which SKU. It's very difficult to keep a track of those things. So, and I'm sure you know that Amazon on an average takes about 35 to 40% of your margins, which is a very high
Hmm.
number. um, so again, like product market fit is a very good solution to all of these issues because
Hmm.
you have a specific category that you have to focus on.
That's right. So in terms of when you mention this, like we are not saying specifically, I'm just like it's a general thing where
Yes.
um, if you have a product which is like say 100 rupees, for example, so
Yes.
30 could be going to that aggregator.
Yes, it also
Oh,
depends on the ticket size you have. So
okay.
on Amazon, it's much more feasible to sell SKUs which are above 1,000 rupees than under
Hmm.
1,000 rupees because
That's
that's where
it.
the logistic cost gets optimized. Like you
Hmm.
might be paying, say, an average of 55 rupees for a product that goes in a 500-gram box, but you
That's right.
will yeah, and you'll pay like 120 for something that goes in a 1.5 kg box. But for 2 kgs, it's just 150. So you see the disparity between the 1 kg, 1.5 kg, and the 2 kg, it gets much more optimized. So that
Hmm.
even though it's a little higher, the difference between the first level and second level is so high, but the
Hmm.
difference between the second and the third level is not as much.
That's right. So I would say even as a e-commerce player, like where you're having a product a certain size, like at least 1,000 rupees, then you become more profitable because if the
Correct.
product cost or SKU is so low, then it's a
Hmm.
big hassle because then you have to reach certain level of volumes and all that. So yeah, that
Correct,
is
yes.
the
But
kind
then
of
you
real.
also have this, yeah, you also have this issue of people not wanting to spend maybe 1,000 rupees on your product because they will find something lower priced with another competitor. So there are a lot of different aspects that you have to keep in
Hmm.
mind while getting launched on Amazon.
That's right. That's right. I think the quick commerce is where that's a different kind of model where
Yes.
they take in the
That's
cost. So
a
it's
yes.
so that's a different because there you see the low ticket item. That is what it's like groceries and all that. So yes, yes,
Yeah,
that is
correct.
where. But if you're on the main side, e-commerce side, Amazon, Flipkart, and all that, so there it's would be more suited if you have a higher this thing. So if you have
AOV.
a
Yes.
lower like an SKU of 300, you have to club it together with like a combo package or something. So
Yes.
then it would kind of do well. Then yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Um,
correct.
so Sania, yeah, in terms of using influencers as a e-commerce brand, that
Yeah,
is be done very smartly over the last 2 3 years. The main reason is that how the
correct.
influencer market has kind of developed, and it's kind of encouraged now. Like like you have
Yeah.
a unique content, you have a TG, you can really do well in monetizing it. You have so many
Mm-hmm.
platforms come up, influencers agencies coming up all the time, and their work is also in terms of the branded content, how they handle that whole thing and giving value to a brand that has improved many-fold. So
Mm.
but how do you feel like you they should be leveraged, like if you could like kind of paint a picture of that?
Sure. So, with influencers, I think influencers are a very important part of social commerce,
Hmm.
especially because this new generation, like Gen Z is they've grown up watching YouTube videos, they've grown up being on Instagram. So the most relatable type of content to them is looking at their influencers who they trusted for so long. You know, they watch their product
Hmm.
reviews, they watch their app recommendations, and they will engage in those particular platforms with their
Hmm.
influencers. So it's very important to choose your influencers wisely because we've all witnessed, an influencer, collaboration going wrong as well. So the first thing you have to keep in mind is how your brand's value aligns with their particular values. So you have to ensure that the influencer and the brand both share a same set of values and they're both promoting the same thing. So if I'm in the healthy snacking category, I will prefer to pick someone who takes care of their health, who is a little health conscious, who's giving out content related to nutrition or healthy snacking. So that's the first criteria. Secondly, I think it also depends completely on your budgets. Now, if I'm a brand who's been allotted a very good budget, I can pick, influencers with 1 million or 2 million followers as well. But
Hmm.
even with brands who have a smaller budget, I don't think it's a constraint because you can then pick out influencers that may not have a very big following, but they have a very relevant following. Like if you're launching, in my case, in my brand's case, if I'm launching a snack which is, North Indian, something related to, a flavor that is enjoyed by North Indians, I'm going to pick an influencer of that particular locality, of that particular
Hmm.
region who has that relevant following. So I think this is how you can very easily leverage influencers to grow your channels. And this not just relates to website. You can once you have a brand built and once you have that brand recall value, they're gonna come to various different platforms to see you and to shop. Yeah.
That's right.
So
The influencers who are emerging, you feel like they can approach e-commerce companies also, that in terms of like at least inform them about their
mm,
presence, their target
yes,
audience, and we can
definitely.
leverage. So directly reach out to marketing team of an e-commerce brand.
Yeah, I think definitely. So influencers also have so many different ways of promoting products or doing a
Hmm.
brand collaboration. Now on Instagram, you have this option to join their broadcast channel where you can basically
Hmm.
interact with them. It's like a community that they've built. Although,
Hmm.
say out of 500,000 followers, not all 500 join that broadcast channel.
Hmm.
But even if 30 to 40 do, these are the ones that, regularly, religiously follow this
Hmm.
influencer's recommendations. They want to know each and every update and each and everything this particular influencer has to say. So these influencers have managed to build a very tight knit community through these different channels like broadcasts. You have your live videos. Nowadays we've seen that influencers is just going to start a live video and do product reviews and leave all the links in the live Q&A session itself. So
Hmm.
the customer is just a click away from buying the exact
Hmm.
product that they're seeing on their screen.
That's right. And the people coming on
Yeah,
the live stream are a highly engaged audience of that
correct. Yes.
influencer, and they are so they will
Yeah,
be like in terms of that
yeah.
engagement will be pretty decent on that.
Yeah, so they are actually removing half an hour to 45 minutes just to engage with this particular influencer on a Q&A basis. So they are
Hmm.
highly loyal to them. So yes, that's how you can leverage them.
That's right. Awesome. So, Sania, in terms of your branding of your e-commerce store, because branding is so important where you are gaining that credibility. It's an online business, like there is no physical store at the
Hmm.
moment, like people can see it because that you gain more credibility, obviously, with the physical store. So building your credibility and
Hmm.
positioning, your brand positioning is a very important aspect in the e-commerce business. So how do you feel the company should go about
Sure.
that?
So, like you said, it's very important to position your brand well in this high competitive market. So,
Hmm.
a very important
Hmm.
aspect of this is that all the brand communication that happens has to align with a certain goal. So, when I say brand communication, I don't just mean the content you're posting, on your social media platforms, but it also means like, adding a brand story to the products you're releasing. Like, for example, there is this brand called as Slurp Farm. It's started by two mothers who wanted to ensure that their kids are getting enough nutrition in their day-to-day lives. So, this brand really resonates with a lot of other mothers who might shop from them. And it's because it's something so relatable that, you want to ensure your kid is getting the best nutrition. They like to shop from them, even though their products might be a little higher price. So I think this brand story and a product story really plays out well if you have a sentiment to it or if you have some thought behind it. Another thing is personalization. So the only way to stand out amongst 100 different brands is to do something personal for your customer. So, because everyone is selling, a product at a very competitive rate, you have 100 different options to buy from. So, this is where like personalization comes into play.
Hmm.
And it's obviously like other generic things like, keeping up with trends and everything is also very important. So, by personalization, I mean that, we've seen influencers build a community, we've seen people build a community, but I think even brands should reach out to build communities, actually engage with their customers and understand their pain points. So if today as a snacking brand, I obviously have out of 100% of my sales, at least a good 25 to 30% will be repeated customers. Even if they've not shopped in the last 2 3 months, they must have shopped previously. There's a very high chance and very high possibility. So these communities will not only ensure that your current customers are loyal to you, but it will also help you understand what the new ones are looking for and why they are not coming back to you. So that, and
Hmm.
it's a very personal thing to be associated with your brand or to be speaking to someone from a brand that you're regularly shopping with. Um, it becomes like a two-way street. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So, what would be like in terms of like your brand positioning when we say, like that you stand
Hmm.
out. It's a crowded market, and like you mentioned a brand like you having a chocolate. There are so many chocolate brands out there which are catering to different, like it'll be dark
Hmm.
chocolate or
Hmm.
sugar free, or something where you are looking at a gifting
Correct.
experience. So how do you feel you should approach, because they say na in branding like you shouldn't be like middle of the
No.
path,
Correct.
like if you're in the middle of the road you'll be
Yes.
run over. You have to take
You
some
have to take
certain
a
side.
stand.
It can
Yeah.
even go in detailed where your audience also you have to segment
Yeah.
them, so the different segments, then you have content around that. So how do you feel like that in the competitive, like how is it relevant, and how do you kind of do the
So
positioning?
in brand positioning also on online marketplaces or on online channels like Amazon, Flipkart,
Hmm.
or different platforms where that's a brand aggregator, a customer when he types
Hmm.
something like dark chocolate is going to see 100 different brands. So the
Hmm.
number one important thing is to
Hmm.
grab their attention, and that can only be done through images and your title. So it's very important to keep testing both.
Hmm.
So on Amazon you have this option called as A/B testing, where for the same listing, Amazon is going to
Hmm.
show a different image to X amount of customers and different images to Y amount of customers. And the target group that it's
Hmm.
showing to is going to be very similar. And within 2 3 weeks, you'll
Hmm.
get results of which has a better conversion rate, which has a better click rate. or which product detail page did
Hmm.
the customer spend more time on. So it's very important to keep doing these testings, to keep exploring, to keep experimenting, because amongst the crowd, like you said, if you want to stand out, you have to grab someone attention. The first step of selling is to get them to your product detail page. If they're seeing 20 to 30
Hmm.
similar products on the same page, they will obviously pick something that stands out to them. So this is that online
Hmm,
aspect of
that's
it.
right. I think here, Sanya, like customer persona mapping,
Yes.
like when a person is going, like if you're looking at that dark chocolate, you have to see that which are the personas who are looking
Correct.
at that or
Yeah.
want that product, and what would then appeal to them in the
Yes.
immediate when your
Hmm.
product comes in the search. So also the I think these Amazon and all, I've observed that when you have the product
Yes.
video
It makes all the difference.
which you
Yeah.
make, especially with a presenter or an influencer, it has more of an impact. The conversion
Yeah.
rate is more. That even I, when I'm using these platforms, when they have the video, playing, or it's like an unboxing, or you're kind of
ASMR
seeing the
videos. Yes.
product with a third party, it has a more
Yeah.
impact. So yeah, I think around
That
that
is
we can also
yeah.
kind of,
That
what do
is
you feel? Yeah.
definitely the case. So there are video ad formats also. It's called sponsored brand video, where you can bid on categories and you
Hmm.
can bid on keywords on the basis of the video ad. So for example, if you go and you type dark chocolate,
Hmm.
you the video that you see might be a sponsored brand video. So even is and not just for
Hmm.
ads, even in listings, all these platforms allow you to add videos to your listings as well. So it's very important to get this
Hmm.
type of content in. Apart from videos, even product description pages, you should ensure that you are as transparent as you can be. And while you have 5 to 7 points that you can add, it's important to be short and crisp. So really highlight your USPs, that it's 70% dark chocolate, or it's sourced from ethical places, which is also again very important to this generation: sustainability and ethical
Hmm.
sourcing. So
That's
like you
right.
said, like if my target audience is that particular generation, I'll highlight a little more about sustainability, or how the ethical sourcing is done.
Hmm.
So a good example of this is Open Secret.
That's it. And especially
Yeah.
like Sania, like when you have a
Yeah.
premium product, you will have that themes of sustainability, because that audience is more of
Yeah,
an
it's a niche
evolved
audience
audience. Like
that you're
generally, I'm
aiming at.
speaking. Like don't anyone hold me to it, but like when you have a certain amount of money, there is a little bit more
Yes.
evolution in you, where you then look at these other
Yeah, you
themes
start
and what
looking
you're
at your
contributing
buying
to society
preferences
and
and
that
what
kind
kind
of
of an
things.
impact you're leaving.
Yeah,
Yeah. So there's this
that's
brand
right.
called as Open
That.
Secret. They have these cookies and gift boxes that they sell, and they are very proud of the fact that their workers are all working
Hmm.
mothers. They're full-time working mothers who have two
Hmm.
to three children. So they really highlight this fact in all their products. So, they found this one thing that
Hmm.
really appeals to their target audience. And obviously, it's obviously a very good thing to do as a business to, to take some responsibility to, give back to the community, but it also appeals to their target audience and increases their sales and conversions.
That's right. Sanya, in terms of the pricing that you
Yes.
keep on these, aggregation platforms, also the quick commerce platform, how do you kind of
Correct.
design this?
So I think to start off with, in all honesty, any brand that's selling on Amazon, quick commerce, or Flipkart, or any e-commerce platforms needs to have a margin of at least 75 to 80% to be sustainable in the long term. Obviously, you have short-term goals of, you
Hmm.
know, just getting your customers, and then you might plan to increase your prices, you might plan to get more funding. But I think as a long term goal, and in the long term, it's very important to maintain the 75 to 80% of margin on each and every product, because on an average you will be spending
Hmm.
20 to 30% on logistics. You need good ad budgets. You're going to give. We know how the Indian customer is. Everybody loves a good discount on no matter which
Hmm.
platform it is, even on your own website. To get that the last click of action button to buy it and to pay, you need to give a discount to your customer. So I think it's very
Hmm.
important to map out your economics first before getting onboarded on these platforms, right? And then you obviously, like
Hmm.
if you notice today, or if you go on Nike, if you add something to your cart and then you exit, okay, in the next 30 to 45 minutes, they are going to
Hmm.
give you a message on WhatsApp saying that, hi Sanya, here's a little extra discount for you, or here's a coupon code that you can use at your checkout page. So, they're really pushing you
Hmm.
to,
And that would be for their own
yes,
website, so
exactly.
that it's not on Amazon and you have to share
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
revenue
so
in
I
that. Yeah,
think mapping out your
that's right.
economics is the first thing you should do before setting your pricing. So you
Hmm.
price your products accordingly. Then next thing is obviously your competitor benchmarking and market research. If you're getting onboarded on these aggregators, like I said, there is so much competition. There is probably someone selling a very similar product to you. So you should look at their pricing. You should,
Hmm.
at least track it for 15 to 20 days to see what kind of discounts they're giving on which dates. What is their seasonality like? How many reviews do they have? How are you differentiating yourself from them? Like you said, if it's ethically sourced, if it's sustainable, if you have these points, you kind of, get that upper hand in pricing your product that way. It's justifiable to a customer. When
Hmm.
I'm going on a platform and I'm buying something for, if it's more expensive, I'm telling myself that okay, it's okay if it's expensive, at least it's sustainable, or at least, it's sourced ethically.
Hmm.
So you need to have these unique.
That's right. Also, like
Correct.
ingredients, like a company like a
Yeah.
Whole Truth, they have based it like in terms of transparency, and you're getting real, because all the news that you read, like of the preservatives and other kind of things, hidden ingredients within your product. So that is where they said we are
Hmm.
offering that product at a premium, but
Yeah.
it is
And
like having no
uh,
preservatives and this
if
thing, and
when
it,
you go to look at their
that's the thing.
packaging, their branding, even their packaging and branding is themed around transparency and being completely honest with their customers. So they
Hmm.
found their theme
That's right.
in all of their initiatives, even their social media content. Everything is just about honesty, transparency, and they really market the fact that it's very easy to read their ingredients. Everyone is always going to know the
Hmm.
ingredient that they're reading. They don't, like they're not going to see preservatives, emulsifiers, or any of that. Yeah,
That's right. So it's very interesting, a strategy where you've read the market, you've seen a lot of the products, that the way they market, is
correct.
misleading,
Yeah,
like kind of honestly. So we have a product here. Our positioning will be we have 100% transparency. Also, the way the product, and that is communicated in our
yeah,
messaging and packaging and everything, and that is where the positioning and that
yeah.
differentiates them
And
in the
they're,
market, and they are able to sell
yeah,
more and get better, probably because they are
with
justifying
the
it with
USP that they
the
have, yes.
product and the
And
marketing.
they are very up to
Yeah,
date with
that's right.
trends also. So, like 5 months back when AI was fairly new, at least to, people like us who are not using it in our daily jobs, you know, there was this huge hike in people using ChatGPT, people using Perplexity and Bard. So what Whole Truth had done was they created their own AI, which gives you information about nutrition and gives you information about, how your protein intake or anything related to healthy foods or, healthy snacking. So while they did that, like I said, they were really building a community while doing that, because they're not directly selling their product
Hmm.
through this AI platform. They are trying to add value, they are trying to
Hmm.
communicate with their customers, and that's how indirect sales come into play. You're not directly selling your product on this AI platform, but because
That's
you are
right.
inculcating such good values and you're providing value, your customer is going to come back to you and buy it.
That's right. Yeah, that is like an advanced
Yeah,
level of
correct.
marketing where you are creating in a community some level tool which would
Yeah.
be kind of useful to your TG, and then end of the day, all this is branding. Like
Yeah.
if you're using
But
the tool, you remember the brand, and
yeah,
then when
but
you're
that's not
buying
how
those
they see
products.
it.
Yeah.
They are just looking at Whole Fruit as a brand that is not only giving them good, clean products, they are also giving them good information with reliable
Hmm.
sources.
That's right. So Sania, in terms of using the marketplaces on Amazon, just some keys for someone just starting off on these marketplaces, a few pointers in promoting that, and also having that an optimized
Correct.
listing.
So the key to an optimized listing is obviously content. You have your images, videos, and bullet points,
Hmm.
titles in place. But I think the first
Hmm.
thing that a customer sees after all of this is reviews. So I'm not going to buy a product which has, 1 star rating or 2, 3 reviews. So it's very important to get
Hmm.
reviews in place. Now that's obviously not going to happen from day one. You have to really advertise your product, you have to, so even though you're just selling on Amazon and Flipkart, you can market your listing, you can market your
mm,
product on different channels. You can add links to your Amazon storefront on different channels. So there are a lot of businesses actually that will not
mm,
have their own website. They will not have their own mode of selling. They are just present on Amazon because they do those numbers. So the first thing you're to do is visibility. So you can obviously leverage your ads, like I covered that before. You can, really target your target customer. There is something called as similar preferences also. So if a customer in the last 6 months has bought
mm,
a product from their competitor, Amazon gives you an option to target your ads to that particular person. So again, it depends on what kind of a brand you are.
mm.
Now, if I'm a snacking brand, 6 months is a good enough time for me because they must have run out of those particular snacks that they bought from that competitor. But obviously, if it's a home appliance like an
Hmm.
AC, 6 months is a very short time. They're not going to look for an AC immediately after buying it. So again, you have to tailor your
Hmm.
preferences.
So you're saying the remarketing is there on Amazon, where after a certain period of time, that same customer would be
Yes.
shown ads of like
Yeah.
products he's
So
bought on
I'm
it.
a brand
Okay.
snackable that has a competitor, okay, and X amount of people have bought from them in the last 6 months. Because I'm a snacking brand, I
Hmm.
can look at last 3 months or last 2 months also, that I want to target customers who've shopped from
Hmm.
Y brand in the last 2 months. But that again,
That's
that
right. That's
period
right.
differs and depends on what type of a product you're selling. So you have these similar preferences, you have
Hmm.
age groups. There are a lot of filters you can use to really ensure that your ad is reaching the right person. You can also, uh, display your ads outside Amazon. So Amazon ads might show up on different websites that you're visiting. So you just opened the app, you looked at a product, and then you realize that 10 minutes later that same ad has come on Instagram, or that same ad has come
Hmm.
on some blog you're reading. So all of these
Hmm.
again are sponsored display targeting ads where they've really customized and tailored their preferences in their ad formats. So the way to get visibility is through
That's
and
right.
through organic also. Sorry, through non-paid channels also. Like we as a brand we frequently visit these food festivals, these exhibitions where our target audience is going to come, and we really notice the difference of buying habits in person and online as well. So promoting yourself at these events or collaborating with other brands that are in your that are in a similar space also help you get visibility.
That's right. Any kind of like you've seen like a best practice in the promotion aspect of it, like when you're using, as per
Hmm.
your experience, not like a general thing where I've used this, I've learned, and I have kind of used this in my Amazon promotional
Correct. So I
strategy.
think going heavy on discounts in the first month of your launch is very important because it's not only going to ensure
Hmm.
that you get a lot of sales, but it also ensures that these reviews kick in, which will later on help you build your product
Hmm.
market fit. So going hefty on discounts is a very important thing. Then you can opt for these limited time
Hmm.
deals and create this sense of urgency that, oh, I need to buy this product in the next 2 hours, otherwise it's going to it's going the deal is going to go off. Or there's a really
Hmm.
sly or a shrewd tactic that a lot of brands use. What they do is they keep 50 to 100 units of inventory, and then on Amazon you'll see, oh, last 5
Hmm.
items left or last 10 items left, which again creates this sense of urgency that you need to buy it immediately, otherwise it's going out of stock.
Hmm.
And it also lets you know that, okay, maybe if only 5 or 10 units are there, there are a lot of people who are buying it and liking this product. So there are a lot of
That's right.
strategies that you can
Uh,
start out with to build this hype up about your product.
that's right. Yes, Saniya. So, any mistakes you want to point out where you see brands doing these mistakes on Amazon, and maybe even some
Hmm.
misconceptions on selling on Amazon, and how you can kind of correct
Correct.
this in.
So I think the biggest mistake that I've seen a lot of people overlook is SEO. So not a lot of people know this, but there is a lot
Hmm.
of SEO involved in Amazon as well, not just your website. Every type of content that you post on Amazon gives you the option to build backend keywords, backend search terms, or there's an option to do link building as well. So a lot of people overlook these things while it not make your while it's not going to make your short term sales increase, but in a long term having an optimized listing, having an optimized store is very essential. So these things should not be overlooked. And when it comes to SEO strategies, again it depends brand to brand, but you should try to target generic search terms, or you should try to include keywords that your customer is constantly searching for, not only in your titles but also. So for example, let me just give you an example. If you're posting a video in the listing, you can add tags behind the video, okay, which tells Amazon that this is what the
Hmm.
video is about. For example, it's uses of a particular product, or if it's unique selling point, or just highlighting your USPs over there. So it tells those Amazon bots that this is what my video is
Hmm.
about. So Amazon's bots will accordingly optimize your video and show it to the relevant customer. This goes with the listing also. This goes with
That's right.
any type of content you post on Amazon. So yes, number one is to not to overlook SEO. I think a lot of misconceptions that people have on selling Amazon is that it's very easy to get started. Okay, although it is fairly easier than other platforms. I have seen brands which are, and I've spoken to people from brands that don't have clarity, and they don't have they're not able to do a CM1 level analysis or a CM2 level analysis, because they don't know where they're incurring these costs. Now, there are 5 to 7 different types of fees that you have to pay to sell on this platform. So it's very important to have a plan, to have, a set SOP in place before you get onboarded. You shouldn't lose track of what you're paying for, how much you're paying for. And unless you're a brand that's doing 10 to 20 lakhs a month, you don't get that specialized attention from Amazon as well. So there's really not a lot of help you can get
Hmm.
once you're in this trap. Although you do have customer
That's
support,
right.
they
That's
take
right.
like months to reply. So this is where your Reddit and your Quora groups come into play. You have these groups where a lot of Amazon sellers are there. They help each other. But yes, so I think
Hmm.
the way to avoid this is, before getting onboarded, you take these trainings, you go through these videos and courses and completely understand and what it means to sell on this platform.
That's right. Because now these platforms are so big, like they are not going to pay attention. Their
Exactly.
customer support teams will prioritize, because even those
Hmm.
teams have certain
Yeah.
targets and they have the management, so they will service guys who are giving
Much business,
some
much more
major
business to
business,
them.
or
Yeah.
there's a major like there's a promise for that. So you as a small seller, you have to kind of leverage your own brand, look at that and study that, like no one is going to do that for you
Exactly.
initially. Once you proving your value on the platform,
Yeah.
then they will pay more
And you
attention
obviously like,
to
eh,
you. That I would say on any social media
yes.
platform also, like when you are starting off, no one cares like whether you're getting a
Hmm.
reach and all, like that is your own battle. And once you conquer that
Hmm.
up to a point, you have a good reach, then people come to support
Exactly.
you as a influencer
Hmm.
manager or the brands, and they will say, okay, you can
Yeah.
change your content here or whatever, like so that we are also promoted more or
Hmm.
whatever. So that is a kind of a
Yeah.
process. That's right. So social commerce has come up a lot, Sania, in terms of, let's say, over the last, I think, three to
Correct.
four years. And how do you, like, as a like an established company also, that you kind of work in an e-commerce brand, how do you leverage social commerce, like selling on Instagram and YouTube?
So while my brand doesn't directly sell on these platforms, because our products start from as low as 35 rupees, and they'll reach up to 100, also. But so mainly I think the perception of snackable is to be on these quick commerce platforms more, because that's where that impulsive snacking buying happens. You're suddenly hungry at 4 o'clock in the evening, and you need something to fill you up. And Amazon obviously takes 2 3 days to deliver, or maximum the next day. Your website is going to take 5 days to deliver.
Hmm.
So quick commerce is more of a
Hmm.
focus for us. But for other brands that are selling on social commerce, like I said, it's very important to be present here, because the Gen Z generation, even though millennials and boomers still buy on e-commerce platforms, I think the decisions are still led by this particular generation. Even in your house, like if you want to buy something and there's a young
Hmm.
person who's there, like my parents, for example, even if they want to shop something online, they'll just tell me to do it. So this generation, they love YouTube, they love TikTok, they love Instagram. So I think social commerce is the future of e-commerce, not just e-commerce in general,
Hmm.
but I think social commerce is the future. So I think some effective tactics to drive sales is, obviously, you have your influencer collaborations. which we covered already earlier. Then the next thing is this website integration and shoppable posts. So once you have a website in place, it's
Hmm.
become so easy to buy as a customer. You don't have to fill out any information. Okay, you just have to click, and the product is already in your cart. You're going to see five other recommendations that you can add to your
Hmm.
cart along with it. So even these shoppable posts are really important. Then coming to live streams. So especially on YouTube, a very popular form of content is live streams. Okay, because these influencers, irrespective, unlike Instagram, they post long videos of 25 to 30 minutes. So live stream is this way of interacting with your audience in real time. So you can not just ask and solve their questions, but you can ask them questions as well. That what is the one thing you're looking for in a skincare brand, or what's the one thing you're looking for in this particular brand? What is the one pain point you have while in your entire customer journey while shopping from this particular brand? So even these live streams and these YouTube videos are very important. Apart from this, I think a foreseen trend that I can see coming in is like augmented reality and AI. So if you see on Mintra, okay, there's this option
Hmm.
called as they have a Mintra AI chatbot right now. So you tell them that I'm going to Goa for a 5-day vacation. Make a list of outfits for me, curate outfits for me which are beach related, and it's going to there's a
Hmm.
personalized search filter which comes, and you'll see like a lot of different options for beach type clothes or vacation type clothes. So even this is getting integrated a lot into social commerce. Even when you see
Hmm.
these videos of reviews, they have integrated themselves with these companies called as Wishlink, which so for example, if I'm an influencer selling on Instagram, I don't just collaborate with one brand, I'm collaborating with 10 to 15 brands. I'm not a brand ambassador, I'm just into
Hmm.
collaborations. So I create my own Wishlink channel and recommend all the products that I've recommended in the last 6 months, which might be from different brands. So I think every day it's just getting easier and easier to sell on these social commerce platforms.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. I think here what's crucial is that the person, they are searching and consuming the content. So there is some kind of an intent, like when maybe
Hmm.
you're searching also on a platform, when you mentioned that there's a specific use case, like I'm going for a particular holiday, I would like to,
Yeah.
purchase a few
Yeah.
outfits or your accessories. So it's like, how do you kind of integrate that whole thing into your platform? Like when a search query can then lead to an AI response, and then you link it to products. So that is something I think going forward that will be
Yeah.
crucial,
Correct.
how you integrate that. And uh, all these virtual worlds will be coming up in a
Yes,
strong
for
way,
sure.
and people will be kind of more there than in a physical
Yeah.
this thing
Correct.
setting. So how do you like your products are, you promoted on those kind of ways there with augmented reality, virtual reality? That is, I think, the next stage of how the
Yeah.
business
And
is kind of going.
obviously we've always seen this like evolution in the digital marketing world in the last 5-6 years, where something new comes up, it's very relevant, it's very in trend, and sometimes it dies also. So
Hmm.
actually, how much ever you
Hmm.
anticipate, there are always going to be these new aspects that come in and shock you.
That's right. Yeah, marketer is like the where the attention is. He has to
Yeah,
kind of
correct.
go there. Like even there have been marketing campaigns of certain advanced level of
Hmm.
technology, which is at a concept level only. You have a campaign. Maybe in the real world it's not there,
Only,
but
yes, it's
at a
present
concept level
virtually.
you put it. Like, yeah, like someone when they were talking about that AI
Yeah.
mirror, when you go and the dress is kind of mapped out in front
Yeah,
of you.
correct.
Yeah, so like in terms of your, like when you're listing your products in like these social sites and all, the way the product come within the search, and like what is the intent of the person, what he has searched, all that was kind of being tracked. So
Yeah,
suitably
correct.
where your product comes in is how you have to
Yeah.
kind of go forward, because these social sites, it's terms of the consumption and engagement is pretty high, and they are going on different kind of technologies, different kind of hardware will also come. So you have to be very well equipped as a marketer for these platforms?
Hmm.
Are you on these platforms, and how are you utilizing that messaging from the customers, and you're identifying and then you're showcasing your products there?
Correct. Yeah.
Awesome. So Sanya, in terms of the reviews bit, like,
Hmm.
there are many, obviously, when we see these reviews also on these particular platforms, it's not all true, like there
Correct.
are manufactured reviews and all this also. So, but how should we, obviously, you have to do a bit of that, and it should be done smartly, like,
Hmm.
because somewhere, if you go too much into, the praising bit of it, or which seems kind of unrealistic. It kind of comes across, as fake. But how do you utilize reviews in general?
Hmm.
Also encouraging people to give, genuine reviews. Not missing on the opportunity of a happy customer or brand advocate, then giving a good review for your business.
Correct. So I think reviews and ratings play a very important role in a buying decision, because it's just a way of validation that, these many other people have also liked the product. And you're right, a lot of people, a lot of big brands also that you might shop from on an everyday basis have fake reviews on all these platforms. I've personally been approached by so many agencies, asking if we want to post fake reviews on on our product detail pages. Now, I know that a lot of big brands and MNCs also opt for this. So I think from a customer's point of view, to filter those out, at least on Amazon and Flipkart both, there is something called a seller feedback. So a lot of these brands, when they're getting
Hmm.
fake reviews, they miss out on this. Okay, there is the product
Hmm.
feedback is different. You have something called as a seller feedback. Your entire journey about how quickly the product is dispatched. Did it reach you in a in a safe way? Was it damaged? So seller feedback is mostly for those purposes, but it's also a good way to recheck and just be sure that okay, maybe a lot of their reviews might be fake, but some of them are organic as well. You can check the seller feedback as a customer, but as a seller, it's very important to have, obviously, like you said, no one is going to believe that you have a 5-star rating on all your products that have been selling since years. There are bound to be some mishaps. There are bound to be some mistakes in a few orders. So yes, like reviews and ratings are very important. I think a good way to tackle this is, for example, if today I've launched a product which is new, okay, which is new to my portfolio, but it's a variation of another product I've been selling since years. So I'm just going to use the same detail page to create this SKU on these e-commerce platforms like Flipkart and Amazon. And what this will do is, number one, it's easy for a customer to see different options on the same page. Number two is, even though this product is new, it's going to have the same reviews and ratings of the product I'm adding it to. So, I'm quickly leveraging the reviews and ratings that are there. I don't have to wait for the reviews and ratings to come in. And it helps build trust with your customer. So this is how you can leverage reviews and ratings. And it is very important to keep a track of your reviews and ratings. If you see something recurring, like if you see something recurring, like, so in the middle we had this issue where our operations team was sending one less snack in this box. So we used to keep getting reviews that they're expecting to get 10 snacks but they got 9 snacks. So once you notice a pattern, that's how you
Hmm.
align your operations accordingly. You set standard procedures to ensure this is not repeated again. You should reply to negative reviews. You should make the customer who's written it feel acknowledged. So all these practices are very important, because even though you think that while replying
Hmm.
to a customer, only the customer is seeing it, but as a customer later on, when I come and see that as a brand you've acknowledged another customer in their issues, I feel it's easier to trust that particular brand and buy from them, because I feel like if I am encountering an issue, you
That's
will
right.
always be there to listen to me and maybe replace my product or make my experience better.
That's right. Sanu, how do you deal with a review which may be of some competitor where they are like trying to negatively portray
Hmm.
the experience, buying a product or something, where you can identify that it is like
Hmm.
defamatory kind of thing,
Correct.
like where, how do you counter that basically?
So on e-commerce platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, you have this option to
Hmm.
report a fraud. Like if you
Hmm.
feel like this review is set out to be against you, or you have proper proof
Hmm.
that this was the order ID, this is what was delivered. So you can actually report it to Amazon. They not only remove that particular review from the listing, but they also forbid the person who's written it to write reviews for other products in the future. So that
Hmm.
way, Amazon is very strict with their policies. They also have a lot of bots to detect, paid reviews. Although it's obviously now these agencies have also found their ways to go around it. But yes, Amazon in terms
Hmm.
of safety compliance is very optimized.
That's right. That's right. And generally, people, they come on the reviews if they are not many people are kind of praising yourself. So,
Hmm.
um, in terms of your customer support team, like when they are managing it, generally you are instructed, I think, to
Correct. Yeah.
directly give a dignified response, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then say that let's take the discussion offline or something, and also
Yeah.
put up maybe your case where
Yes.
this is what has happened, and so that
Yeah.
like the people who was reading it said, okay, there is some incident and
Yeah, and at
happened,
least the
and they're
brand is
addressing it, they're
taking some
accepting the
ownership.
mistake or
Yeah.
something.
Like at least the brand is taking some
That's right.
ownership for the mistake they've made. So what we usually do is we have like a somewhat of an automated set response where we ask them to write us an email and contact us on this customer service number that we have. Even though it's Amazon, we have a customer service dedicated to our website. So we redirect them to the same one and then they take care of it. Like, they identify what the problem is, they replace the products, they ensure that something like that is not done again.
That's right. Sanya, many of these, these aggregation platforms, they've become, so big. Like if you take Amazon,
Hmm.
as a product like consumer durables or even consumer goods, you cannot avoid this platform at all. Like people are going to go, firstly, credibility of the platform and also return policies and
Hmm.
those things. So they are more comfortable and they do all those searches for those products on this, like a platform like Amazon. But generally, what happens is that if a platform becomes too big, then in terms of how it's treating its sellers, also could be a little bit unfair. Where in terms of high level commissions or delivery costs and all that. So you have places
Hmm.
where like platform like ONDC has come up, and many of the like an industry association people, they try to build up some kind of a app product where you are moving away from them because these
Hmm.
guys are becoming too powerful. So um, how do you feel this thing whole thing has to be approved, like at an industry level or as even a e-commerce player where you are kind of treated fairly and also like it's profitable end of the day,
Hmm.
like somebody it's not exceeding what it's actually getting you in the final results. Like how do you approach this?
So let me start with so we've already covered that Amazon, Flipkart take about 35 to 40% of your margins. When it comes to
Hmm.
quick commerce platforms, even they have a set margin of 25 to 35% on MRP that they take. Now coming to
Hmm.
ONDC, the biggest problem it was solving for sellers was that it was not going to take this margin from them. So sellers have the ability to
Hmm.
give deeper discounts. Okay. So this is a benefit for the customer as well, that they are getting a better discount,
Hmm.
on this ONDC platform compared to other ones. Because at on other platforms, your
Hmm.
margins are so exhausted that you might not be able to give those discounts. So it was a win-win situation for
Hmm.
every party involved. Like the seller was,
Hmm.
winning because there was no margin. The customer is winning because there's no, there are better discounts. And the government is obviously winning because they are
Hmm.
cutting through the competition and, avoiding a monopoly in this particular field. And they were planning
Hmm.
to compete with giants like Amazon, Flipkart, Zomato, and everything. So the key difference here was that as a seller on Amazon and Flipkart, everything is taken care of by Amazon and Flipkart. Like what I
Hmm.
mean by that is, for example, if there is a payment processing that has to happen, there is order management which has to happen. There are a lot of operational details involved on selling on these platforms. So what ONDC did was they have collaborated with multiple numerous third party sellers for each and every aspect of selling on a platform. So, which is
Hmm.
where I think the harmony fell out. It was not integrated well, and these third-party vendors, even though they managed to collaborate with good ones, like I think it was Shadowfax and Load Share and everything to manage inventory, and then payment gateways were different. So there were 5 to 6 different integrators to manage, one operational aspect of this platform. Whereas on Amazon, everything is in
Hmm.
one place. Flipkart, everything is in one place. Even in QCom,
Hmm.
everything is in the same place. So I
Hmm.
think they, even though they had a great plan to compete with these giants, and I'm sure that in the future also they'll figure out something, but initially it died because they were not able to execute it. Customers are placing orders,
Hmm.
but the order is not reaching them because these operational aspects were not in harmony. They were not able to integrate everything together, which just led to a delay in
That's
orders
right.
or no deliveries at all. So
That's right.
this is where
So I
customers.
think they'll have to improve their operations or
Yes,
how the whole thing is mapped
yeah,
out,
correct.
because the solution is good, because like you have an Indian company also,
Which is
or
government backed.
like at
Yeah,
least setting up government back, and it's like not for profit. So
yeah.
that aspect, I think if they sort these things out, they will, because I think what happened was that since there was so many of these processes, like that whole process, like say if you're ordering from the quick commerce store, it's happening quickly. You that whole customer, the convenience of that platform, you ordering and you're getting it
Yeah, correct.
quickly,
You're
and
getting
so
it
much
in
of
10 to 15 minutes. Yeah.
option. That's right. So if the customers still, most of the customer base is ready to pay that,
Yeah.
like if there's a little bit of a premium on that. So yeah, I mean, they have to, if they sort that out, even there is an opportunity for certain players to come into the market. Like if you are looking at a market, like it's not like a general store for everything. If it's, you have a very
Mm.
specific niche store, like you have I think gifting FNB or something like
Yeah.
that, there is a specific niche also you can establish as an aggregator and
Yeah.
then come up. There is opportunities for entrepreneurs there, that
Mm.
you create a great customer experience. And now with tools and AI and all this,
Mm.
you can develop these more easily, and it's
Yeah.
more cost effective now. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
and I
think you
think it's
can
going to get
see
a
that way
little
forward.
difficult because aggregators like Zomato, Swiggy, Amazon, Flipkart, they are tapping into tier 3 cities, tier 4 cities right now. Like places you wouldn't imagine
Hmm.
any digitalization to be there, they are reaching to those places also. So it only gets,
Hmm.
a little more difficult from here. But considering that,
Hmm.
ONDC is backed by the government, and if it does work out well, it will be a win for everybody in this situation.
That's right. Saniya, in terms of the quick commerce platforms,
Hmm.
like in terms of it, is it right to say it contributes a large percentage of your sales, the quick commerce platforms?
Correct. So in my current organization, it at least makes up for 35 to 40% of total sales that happen. And I think it's a great
Okay,
platform
okay.
to be on because the growth is just exponential. And like if you notice that on these quick commerce platforms, you are only involved till a certain point. What I mean is, so this is how their business function works. So you're a brand that just got onboarded and your operations are out of Bombay. Okay. So they raise purchase orders from 7 to 8 different cities, and you send your stock in bulk to those particular warehouses. So they have like a main warehouse in each and every city. You send your stock to that main warehouse, and then from that main warehouse, it goes to dark stores, which might be near your house and which enable this 10 to 15-minute
Hmm.
delivery. So your job is just to make sure that your stock is reaching the main warehouse. After that, the last mile delivery, the operational aspect is taken care of by these platforms, right? Which is why they're taking a margin of
Hmm.
25 to 35%. um, After that, when it comes to the app, it's not as detailed as Amazon, it's not as complicated as Amazon. So selling and running ads on these platforms is also fairly easy. And the best part is that because anything that is bought on this is a impulsive decision, the customer journey is so short. And on Amazon, you might add your products 5 6 days before you've actually ended up purchasing it. But anyone who comes to a quick commerce platform immediately buys it, right? So I think that's how quick commerce in general is changing buying habits also. People are relying to, they are getting used to getting products in their hand in 10 15 minutes. If you notice recently, Blinkit
Hmm.
has onboarded like an iPhone also on their platform. Imagine making a transaction of 70 to 80,000 on a quick commerce platform impulsively and getting it in your hand the
Hmm.
same day. You know, so it's
That's
just
right.
evolving that.
Yeah, I've noticed that the consumer goods also now are being
Yeah,
sold,
correct.
like popular ones like say headphones or
Yeah,
something,
power
which
banks or
maybe up
chargers.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that is also entering. Also, I feel they are trying to make a market for art artifacts, or like these things which um, like you have a entrepreneur who is making a particular like kind of mobile cases, for example,
Hmm.
artistic ones, and he's able to sell it on Swiggy Minis or something. There's a
Correct.
section
Yeah.
in that, and you're making a space. So it's not like the big brands are being represented, because I think as the major player like a Swiggy also realizes he cannot just rely. If you are selling a chocolate, you're just two three of the big brands. Even it's better to have
A variety.
upcoming players also,
Yes.
because
Correct.
that's a very variety that will help you. Like it's the same thing. Like the power should not be
Hmm.
in just a few hands. So
And
uh,
also,
with
the
this
I
skills,
don't know
yeah.
if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but on these quick commerce platforms, you have a set way in which your image can be displayed. What I mean by that is it has to be on
Mm,
a white background. The lighting has to be in a certain way. Your content is written in a very restricted way. There are no reviews that you can see, okay, on quick commerce platforms. So, from a customer standpoint, even a Cadbury and a new brand like Snackable will be judged in a similar way because they don't have that leverage of reviews over us. They don't have the leverage of images over us.
mm.
So, in a way, it's a little bit of a plus point for brands that are just starting out because you're judged in a similar format on this platform.
Awesome. So I think it's been a great podcast here on e-commerce
Hmm.
operations and marketing, and how people can use it. Entrepreneurs coming up
Hmm. Hmm.
also. It's a huge industry. You have established players, employees. We covered a lot of
Yeah,
interesting
correct.
facts in it. So, Sanya, then closing words, like what do you feel of this particular industry going forward?
Hmm.
Technologies, government also backing it, business opportunities like
Hmm.
and trends. What are we looking at?
I think e-commerce in general is a very evolving field, and US recently released this report saying that their e-commerce businesses have seen a much more growth than their retail and general trade businesses. So we can see similar trends coming into our country also. Then, Amazon recently made a delivery with a drone in under 6 minutes in the US, obviously. But
Hmm.
these are some trends that I foresee coming. That drone deliveries will make quick commerce even quicker. Yeah, right now your that is say 10 to 15 minutes, it might be 5 to 6 minutes later. Obviously this drone delivery is
Hmm.
also going to come with its constraints. Another emerging trend I see is sustainability. So every brand is either launching a collection which is sustainable or just launching a sister brand which is sustainable. So Unilever recently launched this brand called as Love, Beauty and Planet, where they are using completely recycled plastics to give out their shampoos in, and they are ethically sourced and PETA verified. And you can see how much transparency is also increasing. Even on Nika, when you're shopping a product, at the end you'll see a license that this particular seller is licensed to sell this sunscreen or this particular cream. So I think these trends are forcing this. These are the trends I'm forcing, and they are definitely going to get more and more integrated. Apart from this, we've covered like virtual reality, augmented reality as well. So yeah, I think as a business, it's something to look forward to, and you have amazing opportunities to grow on these platforms.
That's right. Sania, thanks a lot then for your time. I think it was a very awesome session. Like you brought in so many detailed points, and I appreciate your preparation for this particular podcast in terms of your domain. We
Hmm.
got into details. Like if someone is actually thinking of coming in, it's great insights
Yeah.
you've given to them. So I really appreciate it, and
Thank you so
thanks
much.
a
It
lot for
was
your
it was
time in
lovely
this.
being here. This is my first podcast, but you really made me feel welcome and warm. So yes, it's been a great experience.
Thank you so much, Sanya. So, Sanya, you want to talk about like your social presence, like people can maybe follow you on something, or you're
Yeah.
active on certain
So I'm
social
pretty active
this
on
thing. You
LinkedIn.
can contact.
Everyone who reaches out
Hmm.
to me will get a reply. Anything else you want to know deeper, you can always put a DM. I also regularly post content about e-commerce and marketing on LinkedIn, so you can follow me for those updates.
That's right. Awesome. Great. So it's awesome session. Thank you, Sania.
Thank you so much.
And to the audience, yes, yes, great, great having you. To the audience, the Emma podcast is present on all the major platforms, podcast platforms, obviously on Spotify, and we're having a lot of interesting episodes like this where you come to know, also about the person, not just the marketer, but also the person, that how their journey is, what challenges they face, their achievements, like how they've overcome certain things, and are doing well in their field. So that is something for you to learn from, and also so many technical aspects
Hmm.
also of the domain that we covered. So thanks a lot, everyone. Also, here on YouTube, the Emma Pukral, please subscribe, and you will get all a great podcast on that. Thanks a lot for your time. I'll see you all. Take care.